welcome back to my channel. So it is 10 p.m. at night. I know it's late. So anyways, I was thinking that I really miss my hair videos. Like, I like going back and looking at the progress of my hair. This is how I started my channel, with hair, and I just love going back and watching my videos. And I don't have any hair videos in a while, so I'm going to make a hair video right now. So I'm going to wash my hair. My hair is so dirty, but I'm going to also talk to you guys as I do my hair. We're going to talk finances, and if you guys like videos like this, let me know, and maybe I'll do a series where I just talk to you guys, like just have a conversation but do my hair at the same time, because this is how Kinky Style started, you know? And I know I have a lot of new subscribers on the business side of things, like Medicare, sales, and even me paying off my mortgage and things like that. But we started here, okay? And I can't just forget my subscribers that actually subscribe due to my hair. So anyways, I'm going to get in the shower and we're going to have a whole conversation as I do homegirl over here. So I just got the shower. Dressed, obviously. My face is full of oil, all moisturized and all of that. And it's like 11 p.m. at night. I'm gonna go ahead and put some eye cream under my eye. And then we're just gonna talk while I do my hair. So yeah, so anyways, yeah. So I know my face is oily, okay? Don't have to tell me, I know. I like it like this. I like my face like this, okay? Right before bed, I like it. Anyways, so I'm going to retwist my hair. Oh, my hair feels so much better and it's so clean. And I cut my nails too, so I'm feeling myself tonight. Oh my goodness. So I haven't done one of these type of videos in such a long time, and I just felt like it is definitely time for me to do my hair and have girls chat or guys chat, because I know guys watch my videos too. So yeah. Okay guys, so I wanted to come on here and talk about, this is my clips. So anyways, I wanted to come on here and talk about what Kim Kardashian said. And I know a lot of people was upset with what she said. I was not upset with what she said. I feel like that sometimes when a successful person says certain things, and maybe, I don't know, like some of the things that Kim has said in the past kind of discredit some of the things that she said that does have a lot of value to it. She is a successful woman, okay? So we do have to like remember that she is very successful. And I feel like if Dave Ramsey said the same thing, no one would be mad. Like, no one would be mad. They'll be like, yes, yes, Dave, tell him. If you don't know what I'm talking about, so basically, Kim Kardashian made a comment that women, she gave advice to women, right? And she said that her advice was for women. She said, okay, so basically what she said is nobody wants to work these days, which is true. And then she said that the advice that she gives is that women need to get their up and work. Nobody wants to work, right? So that's what she said. When she said it, when I watched the video, I was like, yes, right? But I didn't watch any of other videos like reactions and things like that. And then when I watched the reactions of everyone else, I was like, why everybody mad? Like, I didn't understand why everybody was mad. And I haven't really watched any of videos to really dissect why everyone is so upset. But I agree. And I could understand why people could be mad because she said it. I don't even think it's more of what she said. I think it's because it was her that said it. But yeah, I want to talk about that. So number one, I feel like I agree with what she said, but I think that people took it the wrong way. That's how I'm viewing it in my head. I feel like people are like, how dare you? Like, who are you to say work hard when you're famous from a sex tape? But Kim is not famous from a sex tape. Okay, maybe she became like something to the public, meaning like maybe she became like a spotlight, right? A spotlight, that's what I want to say. Okay, some spotlight was shined on her because of the sex tape situation, but I feel like that could have went in so many different ways. Like, she could have went into like a deep depression and went into hiding and wanted to commit suicide and all of that. But what her and her family did was took that situation and made something great out of it. You know, they were like one of the first families that did reality TV, and people mocked them for doing reality TV, and they still became successful at it. They didn't stop. People need to read between the lines when someone is saying something like she said, and it was kind of quick, you know, like it was just a quick little comment. It wasn't like she went into detail how to become successful. But when you look at someone like her, you have to read between the lines. She's not saying go work at McDonald's. Okay, I need to do my hair. She's not saying go work at McDonald's and slave for 12 hours a day and just work hard. And that's not what she's saying. But I feel like that's how people are taking it. What Kim is saying is that, you know, whatever you want, whatever that you're seeking, you have to work hard at it. It's just not gonna come to you. Nobody's gonna just come to your door and be like, knock, knock. So I heard you wanted to pay off your mortgage. Here you go, your mortgage is paid off, you know. I heard you wanted to be a CEO of your company, where just sign this dotted line and you're now the CEO. Like, it doesn't work that way, you know. I always look at a successful person and I always read between the line, because a lot of times people are not going to give you their secrets, but you can watch what they're doing and see, okay, this is what they're doing. Like, for example, Kim Kardashian, a lot of things that she have done, she did not have to do. She went to law school. She literally, like, she have done so many different things, started so many different businesses, and she did not depend on, you know, she wasn't that person that was like, oh, let me look for a man to bail me out of this, to make me, I just feel like she really built her brand. And I feel like she is a very hardworking person, whether we want to admit it or not. Just because she did that whole sex thing, you can't discredit her hard work. And because of her hard work, she is where she is. Okay, I know a lot of people are gonna say, where she, you know, she was born in a rich family, or she was, you know, well off or whatever. There's a lot of people that's born in a rich family and do nothing with their lives, guys. Like, really, there's a lot. So we have to give people credit when credit is due and not be so quick to like just discredit what they say. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like I always, whenever somebody is successful, I read between the lines, because a lot of successful people are not going to really give you their secrets. They're just gonna give you like something very cliche, like what she said. That was very cliche. You know what I'm saying? It's not like she really gave you the recipe to become successful. But what she is saying is that if you want something, you gotta work at it. If you want something, you gotta go out there and you gotta get it. Like, it's not gonna come to you. That's what she's saying. And people are taking it as if she's saying, go work for $2 an hour for the rest of your life. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, you could work hard and never be successful. That's not what she's saying. That's not what she said. Is that what she did? Whatever they did to become successful, that's what you pay attention to. Not really so verbal, right? People talk all day long, but it's really about their action. Like Kobe Bryant, right? A lot of his interviews, he said how he got up every day. Like, he worked out. He prepared for his games like hours and hours. He got up super early to be ahead of, you know, his teammates. So he was working harder. He was putting more work. He was doing what everybody wasn't doing. And that's how he became successful. When a successful person is saying work hard, yeah, they worked hard. Like, nothing comes easy to whatever you're trying to do. Nothing comes easy. Like, literally nothing. Even me, for an example, when I had made the goal to pay off my mortgage, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. It was hard, you know? And when I was saying, okay, when I had put out the video that I wanted to pay off my mortgage and things like that, a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say about it, you know? And when I did pay off my mortgage, people were still being negative about it. Like, oh, of course you did. You make good money. Of course you paid off your mortgage. Like, you know, kind of like mocking me, like, okay, you paid off your mortgage. Like, yeah, you make 6 figures, so that's why. No, there's a lot of people that make 6 figures that don't pay off their mortgage. You know what I'm saying? I did things that a lot of people would not do. That's how I was able to pay off my mortgage. It wasn't because I was so successful and I made so much money, because a lot of people are very successful and make so much money and are broke. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta take a different approach. You gotta do things a little different. You gotta do what everybody else is not doing. Not everybody, like when the Kardashians started their reality TV show, people was mocking them. You know? Like, people was literally mocking them. They was like, you guys are a joke. That's what they said. That you guys are a joke. And look at them now. They could have crawled somewhere and said, oh my gosh, everybody is saying that we're a joke. Let's not do this. But they did it anyways. And that's how you become successful. When you do what everybody else is telling you not to do. When everybody else is thinking that you're crazy. Everybody else is saying that, you know, there's no way you could do it. I've seen plenty of stories of people paying off their mortgage with a very low income, you know? So I feel like the possibilities of whatever people want to do is endless, but the problem is people don't want to really work at it. They want to just, you know, they be so quick. People are so quick to discredit people's hard work, you know? And like I said, working 12 hours a day is not what she meant when she said that. I understand she did not say these words, but I clearly understand what she meant. I definitely understand what she meant. And what she meant was, listen, you got to put in the work. You got to go out there and get it. Nobody's going to bring it to you. You know, there's different levels of success, and there's different ways of becoming successful, right? Some people, they invest. Some people, they purchase properties. Some people flip properties. Some people, they got you know, $100,000 from someone passing and they got it inheritance, but they did something more with that inheritance. You know, maybe they started a business, or maybe they invest, or maybe they got properties, or whatever the case may be. Usually when someone is very successful, they're doing something that other people are not doing, or they would do what a successful person is doing and mimic them, because you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. That's just how I feel about the whole Kardashian thing. And I'm not even like a crazy fan or anything, but I don't know, I just thought that was kind of, I don't know, I guess I wasn't expecting so many people to be upset by the comment, and I thought that was very interesting that so many people was upset. All right, we're gonna start talking about the whole Kim K thing, okay? All right, so let's move on to another topic. Since we're talking about being successful and all of that, and you know, putting the work that it takes to be successful at whatever it is that you want to be successful at, I do want to talk about, look how much new growth I have, guys. Like that, I really don't twist my hair that much. So that when I do twist it, that's why I have so much new growth. But it's good because I don't want my hair to be super thin or anything like that. So anyway, so I wanted to talk about how I had a child at the age of 15, making $8.50 an hour to making 6 figures. So I want to talk about how I was able to do that. Okay, so when I was 15 years old, I had my son, and I had promised myself when I was in the hospital, like after I gave birth to him, I was like, okay, this child don't deserve a single mom. Like, right? Like, literally, that's what I said. This child don't deserve a single mom. I want to better myself. Like, I don't want to be a statistic, even though I am a statistic, right? Having a child at the age of 15, you're a statistic. Like, but I wanted to, like, how do I get out of that? Like, how do I get myself out of that, right? So I had made a vow to myself and to my son. He was a baby, but I wanted to do better. I wanted to like have a better life, and I wanted to provide a better life. So at the time, obviously I was still young in high school, trying to finish school and all of that. And then I was not born in the US. I don't know if you guys know that, but I wasn't born in the US. I'm from Haiti. And my mother did not do the proper paperwork. So I didn't have a green card. I was here illegally, pretty much. But it's not, she didn't bring me here illegally, I don't think. I think what happened is that language barrier and all of that, I guess the paperwork was never done properly, or I don't know the whole story, but I didn't have my paperwork. So when before I had my son, I was about, I don't know, 14. I remember my teacher in middle school was like, you need to bring in your social security card, right? And I'm like, what's a social security card, right? Because I have no idea what she was talking about, because I've never heard of that terminology before. Come to find out, I was here illegally, or whatever the case was. When I told my mom that I needed a social security card, she told me, you know, that I didn't have a social security number and all of that jazz. So I took it upon myself to go to immigration, and I started the paperwork to become a citizen. I started paperwork to become a citizen. First I had to get my green card and all that, and then to get my citizenship. So anyways, I did that. And then when I graduated high school, by the time I graduated high school, I still did not have an actual number yet, but I was in the system that I was applying for it. So I was still like good. as far as like I wasn't gonna get deported or anything. So by the time I graduated high school, I didn't have my paperwork yet. A year later, I was 19, then I got my paperwork. So even though I had a child so young, I was always determined to do something better. So I made sure I finished high school. I finished high school actually a year early. Even though I was 19 when I graduated, I still finished a year early because I had repeated kindergarten because I would never talk to anyone when I was in kindergarten. So they thought that I couldn't speak. They thought I didn't know how to talk, so I would just ignore people. I literally would just ignore people when I was in kindergarten. That's crazy. So anyways, I ended up becoming a nursing assistant because I was kind of like in limbo. Like I didn't have my social security number yet, so I couldn't go start college because of that. So I went ahead and did the CNA certification. I could have started college, but I couldn't get financial aid without a social security number. And my mom was like, I don't have no money to pay for you to go to school. So I went ahead and did the CNA, and then I started working as a nursing assistant. And then after that, after I got my social security number when I was 19, I started to go back to school to become a nurse. But my scores to get into class was just way too low. So my scores was way too low. I think it's because I had like taken a break from school. Like I had that year that I couldn't really go to school. So I just could not pass the entrance exams to get into the LPN program. But I never gave up. I just kept trying. I would take the exam, fail, go back, fail. And then I remember after I took the exam one evening, after failing, I went to the bathroom. I was just so irritated, and some dental assistants was in the bathroom in a dental assistant program. They was like, your scores are good enough to get into dental assistant school. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. That's how I became very obsessed with teeth. That's why I have a lot of videos on my channel about teeth, because I'm so obsessed with oral hygiene. So anyway, so I went to school to become a dental assistant. I liked it, but I did not like assisting a dentist. That's the part I did not like, because my dentist would literally have cabinets wide open, leave them open, and I'll have to get behind him and close them because I was his assistant. But anyways, I just didn't like that. I just didn't like someone having that much control over me. So I decided that I wanted to keep going back to school. So I kept trying. So I kept taking like night classes for like English and math and things like that to pass the exam to get into the LPN program. So I just kept doing that until I finally did it. So after I worked for the dentist for 1 year, I got into the LPN program. I was so excited. I remember writing down my letter to resign. I was just so happy to be like, deuces, I'm not closing your cabinets anymore, buddy. I'm out of here. So anyways, I went ahead and got into the LPN program, and I was so happy. So I did the LPN program for a year. I remember the first day of class, right? The first day of class, the teacher said that half of you would not make it, right? And that scared the Jesus out of me. I was like, what? I'm gonna make it. And she was right. Half of us did not make it. We started out with about 50 students, and we graduated with about, I think, 24. So half of us did not make it, but I made it. So I was so happy. I lived nursing school. Like I studied day and night. I would be at the library. I just was like so focused and driven because I really wanted to become something. And one of the things that I remember, I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth, but I'm getting all these memories in my head as I'm talking. So anyways, I remember when my child was about 4 years old, and I wasn't a nurse yet. I was a nursing assistant. And I remember him saying, there was a little dog outside in the neighborhood. He was like, what's wrong with that dog? Like, something was wrong with the dog. Like, his had like fleas. I don't know what it was, but he had like sores on his skin and stuff. My son was like, Mommy, what's wrong with the dog? And I said, I don't know. And he's like, you don't know? You should know. You're a half a nurse. And that just broke me. Like, he called me a half a nurse because I was a nursing assistant. So I was just like, I gotta get back in school. I gotta get in there. I gotta get in. So I always wanted to like go to nursing school. When I kept like going to take those exams and failing, I just knew that I wanted to be a nurse and I had to get in there some way, somehow, especially when my son called me a half a nurse. So anyways, back to what I was saying. I graduated from the licensed practical nurse program, and I worked, when I got out of nursing school, I worked at a hospital for about 3 months because I was a nursing assistant for about 5 years. And the first few years I worked in a nursing home, and then I worked in a hospital, and I loved it. At the time, I think it's still called the same thing, but I was a patient care tech, and I really loved it. I love assisting the nurses. I just love giving the residents, the patients, because we was in hospital setting, love giving the patients, helping them with their bed baths, helping them walk down the hall. Like, I just really love serving people. I just loved it. And after I graduated nursing school, I worked in the hospital for about 3 months. I knew that floor nursing was not for me. It was so hard. Like, I worked on the neuro floor, and a lot of patients like had strokes, and they were so heavy, and they had like, you know, that one side weakness like this, and you have to like use so much of your body weight to help them. I was like, I can't do this. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna hurt myself. So I left that neuro floor, and then I started doing pediatrics. So I started working with children that had like tracheostomy tubes, feeding tubes, and they just had a lot of things going on. Near drowned kids that, you know, got into the pool and became, they call it near drowned, where basically they're brain dead. It's so sad, so sad. But I loved working in that facility. So basically it was like group homes. So I really, really, really loved doing that. And let me see. So I was doing that, and then I was still like, okay, I want to go back to school. I want to get my RN. And trying to get in the RN program was a lot harder than even trying to get into the LPN program. So I basically went through the same thing. So when I was an LPN, I was taking prereqs to become an RN. So I would go take my RN prereqs and all of that, and I had to start from like the very beginning, like the basic math and the basic English, because I just wasn't that bright. Like, that's the best thing that's the easiest thing I can say. I just wasn't that bright. Like, I didn't study well. I didn't do well as far as like tests and things like that. So I had to do a lot of like going back and redoing my tests and things like that. But I don't know, after I finished all my prereqs, so I finished all my prereqs to get into the nursing program, but I couldn't get through the exam to get into the actual nursing program. So I went through the whole thing again, trying to get into the nursing program, could not pass the exams. My scores were just never high enough. Like, it was I think back then it was called the T's. It's probably still called that, I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't get in. So I just kept going back. So I just, you know, working as an LPN and still trying to like get into that nursing program. My biggest thing is just I never gave up. That's the biggest thing. Like, I just kept going back. Like, I would fail, and they'd be like, well, you can't take the test again for, you know, however many months, and I'd be like, okay, I'll be back. You know, like I'll study for however long, and I always went back. I always went back. I never said, I'm not doing this. I never said, I'm coming with the plan B. I never did. I just was like, I'm going back. I'm going back. I'm going to keep going back until I get in. And I did. I eventually got into the nursing program, and it was hard. It was really hard, but I just kept going, you know. When I first got into the nursing program, I was already married at that point, and I had Bryce. I had my son. And so I had got to the nursing program, and then I had got pregnant with Madison. Yeah, I remember that. I remember getting pregnant with Madison, and I was like, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm going to have this baby, and I'm going to go back. And that's what I did. Like, I had her in October. So we had like that Thanksgiving break and that winter break. So I took off, you know, because it was a break. So I had her like in that perfect time, you know. So it's like I had her. I had to go back to school to finish up whatever I had to finish. And then we had a break. And it just worked out. And nursing school was hard. Like, it was so hard. A lot of sleepiness, like a lot of studying at night. I remember being up at night studying and everyone was sleeping. I remember that. Everyone was in their bed all snuggled, and I'm like up trying to like study for my exams. And I always did well when I was in the nursing program, because I think it's because I just loved like learning about nursing itself. Like getting in the program was hard. But when I got into the nursing program, it was still hard, but I was able to like do well because I wanted it so bad. Like, I wanted it so bad, and it took me so long to get to every stage, because I was a nursing assistant for 5 years. I was a licensed practical nurse for 5 years, and then it took me 5 years to get into the RN program, you know? So I just never gave up. Like, giving up for me was just never an option, you know? So when I was a CNA, I was making about $8.50 an hour. And then when I became an LPN, I remember the hospital paid me $14 an hour. And I was like, this is nothing. Like, what's $14, you know? And then I did the peds, and then the peds, I was making about 23 to 25 an hour. It just depend on the case. Something like that. Like $23 an hour. I think I made $23 an hour as an LPN when I did this, the peds. So when I graduated RN school, I was still working with the kids, and I had got a raise, making about $25 an hour. And I stayed working as a RN for, let me see, I was there for about maybe 2-3 more years, and then I decided to move on and do something outside of peds and start working with adults. So I started working at a nursing home. So I remember I was working at a nursing home, and I seen a male nurse, and he had on clothes, like he was dressed, like he had on a button-down shirt, some nice slacks. He was dressed, but he was a nurse. So I seen his badge, and the badge said his name, RN/MDS. And I was like, what is that? Like, he has on regular clothes. Like, he don't have on scrubs. I want to do that. Literally, I said, I want to do that. So I went home and I researched MDS, right? I was like, what is that? I want to know what that is. And this is why I say you don't have to like necessarily know what someone is doing, but you can definitely do what they're doing without even like asking them, like, what do you do? Or how did you get there? Or, you know, you just read between the lines and do what they're doing, right? So I wanted to be him. I wanted to be a MDS nurse, even though I didn't even know what it was. I just knew that he wore regular clothes and he didn't have on scrubs and he wasn't on the cart and he wasn't on his feet for 12 hours a day or 8 hours a day, right? So like I said, I went home, I researched what an MDS was, and I was like, oh, okay. So I started going on, back then there was like no Facebook groups or anything. If there was, I wasn't on Facebook back then. So back then they had like these nurse forums, right? So I would go Google MDS nurse. I would Google that, and then I would get all these articles or forums of nurses posting about, it was like how they make more money on their interviews and the things they said, and I literally wrote down everything. And it was a whole lot of language about reimbursement and how they help the facility get the highest reimbursement, and this is how they are able to like negotiate their salary. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. Like, I'm gonna negotiate my salary by saying I can get you the highest reimbursement, right? So what I did, I figured out how to get certified in MDS, because I would apply for MDS and no one would hire me because they're like, you don't have no experience. Of course, right? You don't have no experience, so we can't hire you. So I went ahead and did the certification for MDS. Never asked a nurse about MDS or anything like that. I just literally went and got the certification, right? So I go get the certification, and now I'm working, at this point I'm working in a nursing home, because when you work in nursing homes you kind of bounce around. So I don't remember, I knew I wasn't at that place where I seen that nurse, but I had went to another nursing home. I was working at another nursing home, and then I had met a MDS nurse there, and I asked her, I was like, so how do you get into MDS? And she was like, you know, you got to get experience and things like that. So I've been trying, and you know, so I just kept applying. So I asked her, so one thing I asked her was, how do you get in? And she said, you need to get experience. And then she said, and I asked her, how much can you make as a MDS, if you don't mind me asking? Because a lot of people are very funny about sharing their salary. And she didn't tell me how much she made, but she just said, you can make about $35 an hour to start. So I was like, okay, that's not bad. Because at that point, I was making about $25 to $27 an hour as a nurse. So I was like, okay, I can do that. So anyways, I got my certification. I went to New York. I did the course. It was like 4 days. Came home and I studied the material, and I passed the certification and all of that. And I started going on interviews. Okay, so now I had something to show that, you know, I want to do this. I got my certification. I could talk the lingo, even though I had no idea what I was talking about. Even though I had a certification, I read a lot of the forums. The forums kind of helped me. So I remember I went to this nursing home for an interview, and they was like, okay, so you don't have experience, but we see you're certified and we're willing to go ahead and train you for the director position. I was like, I don't want the director position, right? I don't want the director position, but that's what they had. My first position as an MDS director, and I really didn't want to be a director, but I went ahead and took that position. They started me at $60,000 for the year, because it was a salary position. And I remember when my regional was training me, the first thing he said is, this is our first time hiring somebody with no experience. He said, if you don't do well, we'll just have to let you go. And when he said that, it scared the crap out of me. That scared the crap out of me. So I took the manual home. I was studying. I learned all the terminology about MDS, about Medicare, about Medicaid, about scores to how to get the reimbursement. Basically, what you do is you send assessments to the government, and you let them know like what the care that you're providing, and that's how we get reimbursed. So I learned everything. I learned all the tricks to coding, how to get, you know, your reimbursement legally the right way, and all of that, how to make sure that you capture things so that the facility get paid. And I became very well at it because I was so scared that I could have got fired if I didn't know what I was doing. I became very well at it. So when I was at that job, after a year, I asked for a raise and they gave it to me because I was just, not to toot my own horn, but I was so good with reimbursement. And I was like the #1 in all of the buildings. I was always #1 with reimbursement. We always made really well. Like we made like $1 million the first year I was there. So it was amazing. So I left there making about 70,000. One thing I would say is that if you want to make more, you do have to bounce around from job to job. You don't want to bounce around like every 6 months, but you do have to bounce around because sometimes the job that you're at try to play hardball and they don't want to give you a raise or whatever, but you can't be afraid to ask for a raise because the money is there, you know, especially when you're really great at your craft. So yeah, so I left that making 60,000 when I started. I left that job at 70,000. And then I got another job that paid me a little more than 70,000. I don't remember how much it was. And then I left there and got a job starting at 85,000. So every time I would leave, I always would make like these big increases because I was so good at what I was doing, and it was so hard to find nurses that knew how to do it or that was really good at getting the reimbursement. Because just because you know how to do a job and you're experienced at it, it doesn't mean that you're really making the, you know, the facility money. Because if you're not capturing what needs to be captured to get paid, then, you know, you just have experience. You just have experience pretty much. So I knew that was very important in that role, is to get reimbursed for the work that the facility, you know, provided. So so my last actual position that I worked for, I was making 92,000 a year, and I was also working like, you know, extra as well. So then I was making over 6 figures at that point. So that's how I ended up making 6 figures as a nurse living in Florida, which is not bad at all for Florida. Now you can make a lot more because of what's going on in the world right now. But yeah, that's how I made 6 figures without, you know, what's going on in the world. Just me being persistent, me just not giving up, and me just wanted it so bad. I just wanted it so bad. And truthfully, that's why I can relate to Kim K's comment, because when she said it, I was like, yeah, you gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. You can't give up. You can't stop. You gotta go after what you really want, because no one's going to give it to you. You know, you gotta show that, hey, I'm here, I'm showing up, and I want it. And I'm gonna do what it takes to get it. And I'm gonna work for it. So yeah, so that's what Kim K meant, and that's it. So anyways, I'm going to finish my hair, and then I'll come back and show you guys the results. I'll be right back. My hair is so clean though. So I'm done twisting my hair. Now I'm going to add some olive oil and go to bed. Olive oil, olive oil. Oh. Whew, so tired. So tired. So tired. Good night. So I just woke up and my hair is still wet, so I'm going to blow dry my hair. So I'm going to blow dry my hair.